This is college wrestling on the ACC Network Extra from Reynolds Coliseum on the campus of North Carolina State University, where the Wolfpack will play host to the Blue Devils of Duke University. Hi there, we welcome you in. Darren Vaught, Ryan Tice is here as well, so you know it's serious. Ryan, this is the first ACC dual matchup of the season for both of these teams. It's going to be a wild one in the following weeks ahead.
Yeah, 6-team league, so you know they're all familiar with each other. And it's that time of year where guys are nicked up, they're missing from the lineup, and that means we're going to have even more competitive ones than usual tonight.
It should be a very contentious Atlantic Coast Conference as we take a look at the 6 teams as a whole, 5 of which are ranked, headed by number 8 North Carolina State here, and they've all got some very impressive wins so far.
Yeah, the league has some impressive depth. There's ranked guys at every weight class. There's All-American contenders at every weight class, and you see every team's pretty much picked up a ranked win this season.
So we'll get right underway in this dual matchup as, Ryan, you and I, looking at the lineups here, like a lot of these individual matchups, what are some in particular that you're looking forward to today?
I think the one that definitely highlighted is 149 pounds. If you look at the coaches panel rankings, you got number 7, Justin Oliver from NC State, number 6, Mitch Finesilver from Duke. 2 guys who have met previously in their careers. Oliver has won both, including one at the NCAA championships.
We begin with the heavyweights here, so 285-pounders. And Colin Lawler of North Carolina State and Arad Fisher, the senior, for Duke.
That's actually Deontay Wilson out there for the Wolfpack.
And a good correction on your part, Ryan. Deontay Wilson. We were told it could be either of the freshmen. Wilson, 11 wins, 7 losses on the season. Has taken his lumps, certainly, as a first-year wrestler, but shown signs of progress leading into ACC dual competition.
Well, there's no harder weight class to step in as a true freshman than heavyweight. Now, Wilson's a big guy. He's not overmatched in the size department often, but he's still getting his feet under him, still getting experience, still learning all the ins and outs of college wrestling, and we'll see how he's able to do tonight. This one, we talked about how there's a lot of even matchups across the board. I would say this one is a very even matchup between this true freshman, Deontay Wilson, and Arad Fisher, the senior from Durham.
And at the onset of today's bouts, one could assume that maybe it's going to be a little one-sided in favor of North Carolina State. But, Ryan, as we've mentioned, a few guys out of the lineup for the Wolfpack and just some intriguing matchups. These teams match up very well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, State's down 2, possibly 3 starters. We won't see Sean Faust at 125. He's the guy that will be there for them in the postseason. They're also missing 184, Nick Reenan, a guy who's in the top 5 of every national rankings out there. He's number 3 in the coaches panel rankings. Those are 2 tough losses. And then, of course, their 133-pounder for the Wolfpack, Tariq Wilson. Not sure if we'll see him at 133 to take the forfeit or not. It will be a forfeit on Duke's part, so I expect we'll see him out there.
It's the only weight class that is open in the Duke lineup, as this one still zeros as we near the end of the first period. Not very aggressive from either side so far, but I would expect that to change and become ever so slightly the case as the evening moves on.
Yeah, absolutely. One of these guys has to set up a shot. We're obviously not going to see it in the first period, so we'll see how they do on the mat. And a takedown here could really change things.
You see Coach Pat Papalizio in his 7th season at the helm for North Carolina State, and a buzzy hire when he came over to man this ship in Raleigh, and it's become one of the better home mat venues in all of college wrestling, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. After NC State did the $35 million renovation here at Reynolds Coliseum, shifted the floor, if that's what you want to call it, the basketball floor down the one end. And it's so much different than when I wrestled here at NC State. Good job escaping there by Deontay Wilson. Was only down for 7.4 seconds.
So a 1-0 lead now in favor of the NC State freshman at the heavyweight class.
And here's where you want to see Deontay Wilson if you're the Wolfpack, or really both sides if you're a Rod Fisher for Duke. You want to see a guy set something up and commit to a shot. We didn't see that at all in the first period. And this is the type of match that one takedown's probably going to come close to. It won't put it away, but that's going to go a long ways towards deciding the winner of this one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. You estimate that we'll have at least a couple of bouts like that in that low-scoring range.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our last bout of the evening, 197, could be a low-scoring one, but I know these coaches preach they don't want to see that. They want to see points. They want to see aggressiveness. They want to see action. So we'll see if they get their wish or not.
Both Coach Papalizio of NC State and Glenn Lanham, who we had the pleasure of talking to, has driven outside of the circle, is Fisher. We'll reset things, but both coaches, especially at this point in the season, Ryan, preaching that early on, perhaps it was a little more about technique. This is the time where you want to establish yourself as a wrestler in your individual bouts, be more aggressive, and especially in North Carolina State's perspective at number 8 in the country, atop a very competitive conference, they want to add bonus points or style points, as Coach Pop calls them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what you got to do. When you get into the conference season, when you get into this time of the year, you got to start hitting on all cylinders. And I think that's something NC State's done. They've kind of, at the beginning of the year, you're kind of working on getting everybody better. When you get to this time of the year, it's more about you know who your starters are. NC State's still got 2 guys going back and forth at heavyweight, but for the most part, you know who your starters are, and you got to get them ready for the postseason.
You see Glenn Lanham there in his 7th season as well for Duke University, their first top 25 finish last season. That was according to the NWCA poll.
Yeah, 2 Oklahoma State Cowboys doing a heck of a job here in the ACC.
So through 2 periods here with the heavyweights as Wilson.
Good, strong mat return there.
Wilson has become the aggressor here. What have you seen, Ryan, through the first 2 periods?
Not a lot of action in neutral, so he knows how important it is for him to ride here. If he can ride him out, he wins, obviously. But I think it's what you're going for right now if you're Deontay Wilson. You got to get a minute of riding time and get that advantage.
He's up to 30 seconds and counting. Driving Fisher again outside the circle, where they'll re-rack it. Still 1-0 in favor of Wilson and North Carolina State.
You look at these 2 guys, there's such a noticeable size difference. Rod Fisher weighing in at 206 was a guy that was wrestling all the way down at 184 pounds 2 years ago. Deontay Wilson probably hasn't seen 184 in quite some time. He checked in at 272 today.
Wilson in the dominant position, continuing to stack on that riding time, 53 seconds and upward.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, he's right at a minute right now. He just crossed over. That is massive. You hear the crowd cheering, and insult to injury, we get a stall warning.
So Fisher really struggling to escape this position that he's in. Now 121 of riding time.
I mean, that's a massive human being on top of him, and it's tough. When Deontay Wilson, we have not seen him ride quite this well this year, and he just did a phenomenal job breaking his opponent down, getting him down on his stomach, doing a great job of staying in position, staying behind, and making his opponent carry his weight.
Under 5 seconds now left in the period. He won't quite get to 2 minutes of riding time, but an impressive win for Deontay Wilson to get things started at the heavyweight division for NC State. 2-0 the final in that bout.
A big win for the big true freshman out of New York.
So now we'll move from the largest competitors of the evening, Ryan, to the smallest and to the 125s. where we've got a couple of redshirt freshmen. For NC State, it's Zurich Storm, 11 wins, 3 losses on the season, and then Harrison Campbell of Duke.
Yeah, Campbell's a guy that's listed as being from North Carolina on the lineup card, but he started his high school career in Pennsylvania, which is exactly where Zurich Storm is from. Nice shot and finish there from Zurich Storm. Wow, and he's got him on his back too.
Storm was looking for an early pin there, but as you mentioned, a very impressive takedown. Now ahead 4-0 for the Wolfpack. And a bit of a rise out of this Reynolds Coliseum crowd.
That's exactly, if you're the Wolfpack, what you want to see out of Zurich Storm. Picking up the pace, being aggressive, getting in on that shot, and finishing with authority.
Trying for another one immediately. But the escape will give Campbell 1 point for Duke, 4-1 now.
And Storm should have a lot of confidence right now, the way he was able to get in on that shot so quickly and finish. He should be going for another shot right away.
A lot of hand fighting between the two.
You can hear the Duke bench trying to get Campbell to shoot. Storm does it instead and finishes there again.
Storm with another, just when you thought things were going to slow down a little bit. He was just biding his time, waiting for the right moment, and gets Campbell again. 6-1 now, the lead for Storm. And if you're Storm, you'll swap takedowns for escapes all day, I would imagine, as they've just done.
Absolutely, especially when you got that 2-point near fall in your back pocket.
Under a minute left in the period. Storm also at 37 seconds of riding time, although that is currently a stagnant number.
First shot from Campbell, and Storm looks like he's going to use that to his offense.
And then the whistle blown. So you're right, Campbell finally finding an opening. Storm closes it quickly.
Yeah, great strong defense there from Storm. Quick sprawl and then went right on the attack.
Campbell looking for anything down low. And Storm again with an impressive takedown. Got him on his back.
Strong finish there from Zurich Storm to close the first period. Tacks on the 2-point near fall as well.
10-2 heading into period number 2. Zurich Storm a dominant first couple of minutes. And from Campbell's perspective, what can you do other than try and be as aggressive as possible to make up this 8-point deficit?
Well, that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to get his offense going. He's going to have to look to create an angle. And, I mean, he's got to stop those shots. It sounds, it's harder than it sounds, obviously. But, I mean, Storm's just finishing with ease out there, picking them up, slamming them down. And I believe Campbell got hit for a stalling warning right before that shot as well.
I saw that as well. I believe it was a stall. Or a warning for such anyways.
Yeah, just the first, so no points yet.
Up to a minute of riding time for Storm as well, as Campbell gets his third escape and third point of the bout. Now 12-3 advantage Storm of the Wolfpack, and got him again, just at the outside of the circle.
Storm's putting on a takedown clinic right now.
shot after shot against Campbell, and now he has him secured at the outside of the circle. And the whistle will bring us back to center.
Yeah, Storm got hit for a stalling there, just his first, so each guy has a warning right now.
Wolfpack ahead 3-0 through 1. And in bout number 2, a dominating performance so far from Zurich Storm, who's going to get his eye cleaned up a little bit before we resume action.
And the way Storm has been finishing is really impressive in terms of picking his opponent up, putting him on his back twice right off the takedown. It doesn't get much better than that.
Technically not a takedown there, but again bringing Campbell down. And all 4 of Campbell's points have come from those escapes, which Storm is essentially giving him in order to have another chance at a takedown.
Yeah, if your neutral game is working this well, I don't know why you wouldn't just want to go back to neutral if you're Zurich Storm. He's got 1.5 minutes of riding time already, so he doesn't need any more. He needs to just get back to neutral, get back to work, and keep shooting those doubles.
Storm again pressing to the outside, and a stall warning again as we reset things.
And that one's a point because it's his second. And that's what being as aggressive as Zurich Storm is being will do. When you start shooting, the ref is going to start hitting the other guy because you've just been the aggressor the whole time. Just runs out of time there. Wow.
Second period over, the takedown that wasn't just then, as the score will remain 15-4 in favor of Zurich Storm. The redshirt freshman putting on a clinic so far here in bout number 2.
This is by far the best we've seen Zurich Storm look this year.
Campbell cutting away at that riding time, at least for the moment, as Storm flips him right on over.
Great switch there by Zurich Storm after Campbell got the leg in. And now he's looking, I don't think he got on 4 near fall. Nope, just 2. But that'll do it. Technical fall victory for Zurich Storm.
And in very impressive fashion, Zurich Storm takes the second bout, 19-4 the score, taking the team totals to 8-0 in favor of the Wolfpack of North Carolina State through 2.
Here's the first takedown of the match. You see Storm wasting no time, got in on that shot, picked his opponent up, slammed him down. Got the 2 near fall as well.
That was one of many that we just witnessed.
And we mentioned it at the top. Tariq Wilson, we weren't sure if he was going to come out and take the forfeit. He did just come out and take the forfeit. So 6 more team points going the Wolfpack's way.
That again, of course, because of the opening at the 133 weight class for Duke. So now the team total up to 14-0 in favor of North Carolina State as we make our way to the 141s, where this is Jamel Morris for North Carolina State and Josh Finesilver, one of the 3 Finesilver brothers on this Blue Devils squad. 4, 3 in the lineup today.
2 sets of twins, 1 big one and 1 small one in each pair of twins. But this is one of the bouts I was looking forward to most coming into the match. These guys are very evenly ranked on paper. Obviously, we don't wrestle on paper, but Morris, number 26 in the coaches panel rankings, Finesilver, number 30. And Morris strikes first with that takedown.
First on the board, 2-0, Jamel Morris over Josh Finesilver. And forgive me, all 4 of the Finesilvers in the lineup today, as it will be Josh at the 141s here, Mitch at the 149s, which is just a stacked weight class in the ACC. That'll be up next. And later on at the 165s, Zach, and 174s, Matt Finesilver wrestling.
Now this is a match that happened 2 years ago. Wow, touch fall for Jamel Morris. Working that bar on top, gets both shoulders down. It's a touch fall and another 6-point win for the Wolfpack.
That's an unbelievable effort because Morris and Finesilver were rolling each other over and over and over. And Morris just in great timing, able to roll Finesilver over.
Yeah, you see Morris has that cross wrist, was using it for a tilt, and Finesilver, I don't know if he just wasn't aware on where he was on his back or just relaxed for a second. Quarters were down, that's a pin, and that is for Jamel Morris. Those two guys met 2 years ago in an open tournament, and Finesilver beat Morris 22-6. So sweet revenge there in the dual match.
The pin for the redshirt senior for NC State. Jamel Morris moves to 17 wins, 3 losses on the season individually. And for this one, it's 20-0 NC State. And this is this 149 matchup we have discussed up to this point, Ryan. Again, a stacked weight class within the league, but these two in particular should make for great wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a top 10 matchup. It's a legitimate top 10 matchup. You mentioned how loaded 149 is across the ACC. These are two of the best guys in the conference, regardless of weight class. They're two studs right here. Justin Oliver, a former All-American at Central Michigan, transferred here to NC State, taking on Mitch Finesilver, a guy who's been to the NCAA tournament 3 times at 3 different weight classes.
A lot of experience here as well. Finesilver, a redshirt senior, number 6 ranking in the country. Oliver, a graduate competitor, ranked number 8th.
Yeah, and these guys met at the 2016 NCAA tournament. They actually wrestled earlier that season as well. Oliver won both. He won 8-6 at the Southern Scuffle and then knocked Finesilver out of NCAAs with a 6-5 score. And when we talked to head coach Glenn Lanham before the match, he said, I told Mitch, this guy took something from you. Go out and get redemption.
This was the one that Coach Lanham circled when we asked. There were a lot of matches that we anticipated heading into the evening, but Lanham was quick and eager to discuss this one in particular.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's one Finesilver's had circled on his calendar all year. He's probably been itching for a chance to get back at Oliver since he knocked him out of the NCAAs in 2016. Good shot there.
Couple of minutes in, the first good shot earns him 2 points. So Duke with a 2-0 lead as Finesilver gains control.
Yeah, Oliver tried scrambling out of that and kind of diving under. Good awareness from Finesilver to prevent that from happening.
Mitch Finesilver, 20-3 his record on the season.
Finesilver's probably one of the more tested guys nationally at any weight class. He's 7-3 versus ranked opponents this year. He's got a couple of really, really nice ranked wins, and you see Oliver just got hit for stalling, his first of the match.
So no points awarded quite yet with just 10 seconds remaining in the first period. Finesilver working his way up toward that 1 minute mark in riding time, 57-58. And exactly 59 seconds as the first period comes to a close.
He's going to defer choice, and Papalizio wants Oliver to choose neutral instead of going underneath.
Pat Papalizio, very expressive about the idea that he wants his guys to be aggressive, so this perhaps playing into that mindset, wants to allow Justin Oliver the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think Finesilver's just really, really good on top, and I think that plays into it as well. Nice duck under from Oliver, not able to finish.
Quick feet from Finesilver, but the first good crack at it for Oliver we've seen so far. Finesilver with low control. Oliver staving off the takedown.
Yeah, that was an impressive little go behind from Finesilver, and then a great scramble from Oliver to prevent it, and he still has his opponent's arm. So no points yet. Now Oliver's in great shape, and Finesilver takes the advantage back. This one is not disappointing so far. And there's the finish.
So another 2 for Feinsilver as he maintains the dominant position there for just long enough. 4-0 is his lead as he's now at 112 in riding time.
And Popolizio wants to challenge that. I think that's a pretty good challenge based on what I saw live. There was not a whole lot of control there as those guys were scrambling around.
It seemed to be pretty even-handed. And a lot of back and forth prior to the points awarded.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see a replay here because, like I said, I didn't think there was a whole lot of control live when they did call that, especially when they had allowed them to wrestle through certain positions earlier. So it'll be interesting to see how this one looks on replay and what the referees decide.
So here we see it as it was a bit of a stalemate. There wasn't as much action.
And you see that was kind of when Popolizio threw the challenge brick. Now I think that's going to stand, to be honest with you. That's a little more control than I thought he had live. We'll get a good look at it here because here's where those two guys are scrambling around. One guy's in the advantage. One guy gives up the upper hand, then takes it right back. Great scramble, but yeah, you see the ref almost called 2 a little early, but right here is where I think he does gain control.
Yeah, things had slowed down evidently to the point where you mentioned the scramble. It was a lot like the match we had seen previously with the 141s in which they were kind of rolling over top of each other trying to regain positioning, but that one slowed down just long enough, I think, that the Feinsilver pin, or takedown rather, will stand, and it does look in fact like that is the call.
Yeah, again, like I said, on live it was a tough call, and the referees obviously have a very tough job, but on replay, I mean, that looked pretty much like control to me, so I think that's a good call. Justin Oliver in a 4-0 hole, a little more than midway through the second period.
And this is one of the key matchups, so just from your perspective, Ryan, what goes into the decision to make that challenge call? It's obviously you have to believe that you're going to be able to reverse it is one thing, but the timing is certainly crucial as well.
Yeah, well, there's a huge difference between 2-0 and 4-0, obviously. And when you're in such a small conference like the ACC with 6 teams, every conference match is huge for seeding at the ACC championships. And that might have played into this. I mean, we mentioned how good the ACC is at 149. This is a huge matchup for seeding purposes, and Feinsilver's got Oliver in trouble right now on his back.
Oliver had flipped over to try and slip from the hold and actually didn't do himself any favors and put himself on his back as the second period comes to a close. 8-0 the advantage for Mitch Feinsilver in this top 10 matchup.
Yeah, Feinsilver's been very dominant so far, and he's just been impressive. I mean, those were some high-level scrambles we've seen, and every time Feinsilver's come out on top.
Now Oliver looks to obtain control at the start of period 3. Trails 8-0.
And like Coach Lanham mentioned to us before the match, Feinsilver's been itching for this chance, and he certainly looks like it out there. I mean, it's been a near flawless match for him so far.
By all accounts, certainly motivated and focused. As Coach Lanham would have led us on to be the case. Oliver up on his feet for just a split second there.
All right, we'll see what kind of tricks Justin Oliver has up his sleeve. 9-0 hole right now.
80 seconds to go. Riding time not in his favor either, though that doesn't look to matter that much at 133 for Feinsilver.
I think this match right here is a result of how much Mitch Feinsilver has been tested this year and how well he has done with those tests. Like I mentioned, 7-3 versus ranked opponents. He's got 3 guys that he's knocked off that were in the top 10. This will be his 4th. He's wrestled a great schedule so far, and I think it shows right here.
He's been very impressive through about 5.5 minutes of this one, as period 3 looks to come to a close in 30 seconds. 9-0, Mitch Feinsilver's advantage.
Yeah, and he's got the riding time point locked up at this point as well. So effectively 10-0.
Under 20 seconds. Oliver trying to manage something in these waning seconds. So a stalemate with just 10 seconds remaining in the third period. A quick resumption.
The Duke coaches wanted Feinsilver to go for points again.
Comes to a close. Add 1 to Mitch Feinsilver for the riding time, and it's a 10-0 dominating effort.
Yeah, Feinsilver looked great in that one. See the shot. Oliver tries to scramble, and Feinsilver just lets him go, lands on top, finishes the takedown. See him put on Oliver on his back here, picking up all 4 near fall points. Just a dominant effort from redshirt senior Mitch Feinsilver, Duke's best wrestler, and he looked like it there.
Oh, and it chips into the overall deficit as we are now at 20-4, North Carolina State's lead at the intermission here on the ACC Network. ESPN and the ACC bring you the ACC Network coming August 2019. 15 universities all on one network. Visit getaccn.com to learn more. Back with you after 5, Ryan Tice, Darren Vaught here at Reynolds Coliseum. Ryan, it's 20-4 in favor of the North Carolina State Wolfpack halfway through, and these closer matches that we had discussed prior to this evening's happenings, a little more one-sided than we would have predicted.
Yeah, we started off with a 2-0 decision at heavyweight for Deontay Wilson of the Wolfpack, but the rest of the matches have all been one-sided. Zurich Storm, NC State's 125, had a tech fall. Tariq Wilson picked up a forfeit. 141, Jamel Morris had a quick first-period pin. And then at 149, Mitch Feinsilver puts up a dominant 10-0 decision in our top 10 matchup.
Yeah, the 6 versus 8 at the 149s, one that was much anticipated by you, me, and perhaps everyone else watching heading into this evening. But that one was rather one-sided. Mitch Feinsilver, very impressive in that 10-0 major decision. So at the break, it's 20-4 in favor of North Carolina State. 5 more bouts to go here on the ACC Network Extra. Stay with us. Five through here at Reynolds Coliseum. 20-4 the score in favor of the North Carolina State Wolfpack. 5 bouts to go, including a very crucial matchup at the 174s.
Yeah, coming in, this was another highlighted matchup. We've got 2 guys who are former NCAA qualifiers, 2 guys who are currently ranked in the top 21 of the NCAA coaches panel rankings, and 2 guys that are riding hot streaks. Daniel Bullard has won his last 3 matches. Matt Feinsilver of Duke is coming off back-to-back ranked wins.
That's a couple of bouts away. Stay with us on the ACC Network Extra. Sunday, February 10th, NC State Wrestling returns to Reynolds Coliseum for the final home duel of the season against Pittsburgh. It's the Wolfpack and the Panthers for a Senior Day clash. That's starting at 1 p.m. right here on the ACC Network Extra. Back with you for the second half of action. NC State hosting Duke, leading 20-4 according to the team scores as we resume, Ryan, with the next weight class, and we move on to the 157s.
Yeah, these are 2 guys that were really both highly ranked coming out of high school. Hayden Hidley for the Wolfpack, Ben Anderson for Duke.
Hayden Hidley, so impressive in his redshirt freshman year a season ago. Has taken some lumps early on in this season as he leads 2-1. But he's gotten through that and seemed to be he's wrestling his way, according to Coach Papalizio anyway.
Yeah, he took a couple losses after going through the regular season undefeated last year, and that's going to happen. I mean, you can't win them all. As good as Hidley is, guys were game planning for him. They had good game plans. They adjusted to him and what he put on film as a redshirt freshman, and it was up to him to make adjustments, and I think he's done that since losing those 2 matches earlier this year.
A couple of matches ago, he got a big pin against West Virginia, and ever since then, or shortly before that point this season, he's wrestled on his terms, ahead 2-1 here in this matchup against Benjamin Anderson, a redshirt freshman for the Blue Devils.
And it's also worth noting, all those guys Hidley's wrestled and his 4 ranked matches, every one of them has been against a top 10 guy. So he's had a tough schedule, getting tested by it, but if you talk to Pat Papalizio, the head coach of the Wolfpack, he's got no problem with his guys losing in the regular season. He even thinks it's a good thing.
Hidley with his left arm trapped there, trying to get out of a pinch.
Yeah, no takedown yet, but he's not too far from one. If he can just free that arm up, he's going to have it.
Great persistence by Anderson, but Hidley eventually gets the 2 points and leads it 4-1. Just at 2 minutes in, Hidley starting on some riding time here at 15 seconds and counting upward. Again, through 5, the team totals 20-4 in favor of North Carolina State. Hidley regains control. Quickly approaching the minute mark of riding time with 20 seconds left now in the first period.
Going to have a stop because of Hidley's hand getting caught in Anderson's singlet.
And you could see Anderson reaching for it, maybe trying to make it more and more obvious to get this reset. We'll see what he does with it. Given his second chance, not a lot doing as Hidley flips him over immediately.
Yeah, so Hidley's going to end this first period with a pair of takedowns and 1:14.5 seconds of riding time.
So assuming a victory for Hidley would give him that extra point, but plenty to go as we get set for the second period. Another 2 minutes on the clock. One more for Hidley on the escape.
Quick escape from Hidley, and now he's right back to work in neutral.
Bit of a long reach on that first shot he
going
took
for the
there.
headlock.
This time, maybe the aggressiveness of that move for Hidley allowing Anderson to get a takedown and 2 points. Hidley escaping to give himself one more. 6-3 now in favor of the redshirt sophomore for North Carolina State.
Yeah, I think Hidley felt the pressure Anderson was giving him. Not able to finish the headlock. Anderson kind of slips out of it and gets a quick 2.
Just over a minute remaining in the second period.
What defense there from Hidley. Anderson thinks he's somewhere, shoots, and Hidley just makes it look simple almost.
The defense there, clearly, it was 100% of those 2 points can be attributed to the defense. As you mentioned, Hidley just seemingly much quicker laterally so far in this one, leading 8-3. in control, but still the aggressor, trying to sneak that right hand underneath there in order to gain another pin.
Hidley not able to get that quick tilt he was going for, but now he's just right back on that tight waist and working a half on the left side.
Up to 2 minutes of riding time with under 10 to go in the second period. A little more of an even scramble there toward the end of the second period, but 8-3 the advantage for Hayden Hidley as we move into the third.
8-3 score advantage and 2 minutes and 9 seconds of riding time as well. Pat Papalizio over at the table having a word with the referee. I think he was probably discussing that count that the referee was making for Hidley being down on the leg and not working up. That's the only thing I can think it would have been for.
He seemed to have gotten the clarification he was after. As an escape for Anderson earns him one, 8-4 now to begin period number 3, just 10 seconds in.
Smart move by Anderson to get out of that upper body tie that Hidley was trying. He's a former Greco All-American on the prep level, and he's got all kinds of throws and moves from that. And, I mean, we're right back in that position now, so we'll see if Hidley goes for another throw. Nice
Hidley
shot.
shoots low, gets another 2.
It was really impressive how deep Hidley was in on that high crotch shot right there. He's got all kinds of moves from neutral. It's impressive.
And Anderson, despite being down 10-4, hasn't made those easy for Hidley so far. Hidley's had to have quite the reach. And another 2. 12-4 in favor of Hayden Hidley now. 45 seconds remaining, and he's creeping up on 3 minutes of riding time.
Yeah, like you mentioned, partner, Anderson's not wrestling a bad match. Hidley's just that good. I mean, he was an NCAA finalist last year for a reason, and he's really just pouring it on now with all these turns he's got.
Sneaky escape there for Anderson gives him a 5th point, though he still trails with 20 seconds left. And another 2-point takedown for Hidley.
I was going to say that's a bad spot for Anderson to be with just all the bag of tricks that Hidley has from that pummel position.
He was quick to use that one and makes it 14-5 with under 5 seconds left in the period. He'll just ride it out and take away that extra point. 15-5 the score individually. Hidley over Anderson, and now the team totals move to 24-4 in favor of the Wolfpack.
Strong performance there from Hidley. We see one of his takedowns here off of the Anderson shot, just a simple go behind. And right there, what defense. Anderson shoots, Hidley's not there. Spin, go behind, 2 points. Strong performance there from Hayden Hidley.
And now it's time for, as Coach Lanham expressed to us earlier, it's time for Wonder Twin powers to activate, right? Hit the 165s. The redshirt senior Zach Feinsilver, one of a pair of twins on Duke's roster. And then Thomas Bullard, the redshirt sophomore for NC State, also the twin brother of Daniel, who will be up next in the 174s.
Yeah, we already had one twin versus twin matchup at 141 with Jamel Morris pinning Josh Feinsilver. And it's time for another one.
I didn't think to ask Coach Lanham if he was familiar with the cartoon characters, you know, the superheroes, the Wonder Twins. They've got the rings on their fingers that combine and then give them their superpowers.
Well, with all 4 Feinsilvers making the NCAA championships last
plenty
year,
of superpowers.
I think you can call them the Wonder Twins for Duke. Good shot there from Thomas Bullard. Feinsilver trying to fight it off, though, and he has so far.
Still scoreless, just about a minute in.
But these Bullard twins, they are most comfortable when they're scrambling, and that's exactly the direction we're going here with Thomas Bullard.
Bullard trying to roll over Finesilver and get something.
Finesilver still got that ankle. That's why he didn't get two yet. And now Finesilver's got the advantage. Bullard's still locked around his leg, so we're still scrambling. No points yet.
The two eking ever so closely to the outside of the circle. Still no points awarded to either side.
We've had some great scrambles in this match.
This one here has been intense thus far. Now Bullard trying for advantage. Still nothing.
And there it is.
Thomas Bullard dukes out 2 points. Wow, that was impressive.
What a scramble. Great job on Bullard not giving up. I mean, there were times where he was at a big-time disadvantage, kept scrambling around, kept moving, did not stop, and winds up with the 2 points. Great scramble, though.
2-0 in favor of Bullard and the Wolfpack. It took not quite a minute 45 seconds for us to reach the first takedown of this bout. As Finesilver escapes for one, 2-1 in favor of Bullard now with 1:05 left in the period.
Great Granby roll there from Finesilver. Bullard smartly just lets him go, gives up the one, and they're back in neutral.
Neither competitor in position terribly long either throughout that scramble. So riding time really not a factor through this point.
And Thomas Bullard looking to bounce back from a tough match in his last time out against a ranked opponent. He was pinned in the first period, but before that he had put up back-to-back ranked wins. So it seems like a common theme, just guys wrestling tough schedules, ranked guy after ranked guy.
North Carolina State doesn't hesitate to stack their schedule prior to ACC dual competition. Again, facing Ohio State for the second consecutive season earlier this year as the first period comes to a close.
And that Nebraska match earlier this year that they won on criteria. There were a lot of really good matchups in that one way back in December. But, I mean, you look up and down the NC State schedule. Number 11, Nebraska. Number 18, Wyoming. Number 13, Purdue. You mentioned Ohio State. And then when they get into this ACC slate, there's going to be even more ranked opponents, with 5 of the 6 ACC teams being in the national top 25 right now.
The escape for Bullard earns him one more.
Good job by Bullard bullying his way through that shot. Both guys kind of shot at the same time. He kept fighting, and now we're in another scramble.
90 seconds left in the second period. 3-1 Bullard's advantage. Physically looking for the advantage against Finesilver here.
Maybe there's something about twins and being funky wrestlers that like to scramble around like this. I don't know.
In theory, they've had someone with which to wrestle their whole lives.
That's
so
true.
That might play into it.
That's true.
And a reset on the way with 1:05 remaining in the second period. I am not and never have been a wrestler, Ryan, but I am a twin, and I can attest to the idea that if you wanted to get into some kind of trouble growing up, or even as these guys are in their late teens, early 20s, I never had problems recruiting anyone.
Sure. You had to wrestle with your twin a little bit, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Just not in a conventional officiated manner. 30 seconds left in the second period. Bullard keeps a 3-1 lead. Heavy hand from Bullard there with his right.
I should have sensed that twin thing. I saw you perk up a little bit when we had twin versus twin out here. I was not aware. $5 left in the period.
Not much doing in this last minute or so. As the buzzer sounds, and we'll head to period number 3. Bullard with a 3-1 advantage. As we have consecutive twin versus twin bouts. Another Bullard, another Fine-Silver coming up next at the 174s. Bullard in this bout finally able to manage Fine-Silver to the ground. No points awarded though.
Yeah, when he kicked both those boots in, he broke his opponent down with authority, went right for that power half, not able to get it, but Fine-Silver's in a bad spot here being stretched out like he is right now.
Up to 30 seconds riding time for Bullard. First opportunity for either to really establish themselves in that kind of riding position. Bullard does have a lead with 3-1 now, and 70 seconds remaining.
Only a 1 count, and then Fine-Silver gets the reversal.
Some patient defense from Fine-Silver to be certain.
And Bullard wasting no time to get back in on a shot, and I think we're going to have another scramble here.
1 point separates the two, 4-3 in favor of Bullard. So this one, perhaps our first really tight bout of the evening. Clock stops at 47 seconds. Bullard with some assistance for his chin strap. You saw him trying to adjust it.
He adjusted
midstream,
it,
and it clearly affected his performance a little bit.
He even adjusted it while he was on top of Fine-Silver at one point. Instead of going for a move, he was messing with his chin strap a little bit.
All right, so he's got that strapped back on. 45 left in the period. Fine-Silver shoots low. Strong defense by Bullard.
That was a great shot by Fine-Silver, and now we're in another scramble situation. Like I said, this is where the Bullards thrive, and it looks like the Fine-Silvers are quite comfortable in this as well.
There's 25 seconds left in the third period. Bullard ahead by 1, 4-3, but he does have, well, he did have enough riding time. That is out of the equation now.
That's some impressive strength shown by Fine-Silver. We're running low on time. He's got to get this too.
10 seconds. We'll see if he can do it.
Bullard just has to hold on to that leg, and he should be able to stave off the takedown.
And Fine-Silver not able to do it. Great defense late by Bullard. And Thomas Bullard gets the individual win, 4-3.
That was a fun match, wasn't it?
It was almost as if the two of them themselves were twins, having grown up in the same household. They knew each other's strengths and weaknesses well and used them to each other's advantages.
Yeah, those were just two great scramblers getting funky with each other and really limiting the points, but it was a fun match to watch. You see right here, that's where Fine-Silver got the reversal. It was nearly back points for Bullard. Fine-Silver ends up with the reversal that tied it up, but he hangs on for a 4-3 victory.
So we move on to twin brother Daniel Bullard, also a redshirt sophomore, 15-5 on the season, a number 20 ranking nationally, as he's facing Matt Fine-Silver. The sophomores, it's 17-5 on the season. Bullard first to strike low.
We might have a repeat.
Another contentious Bullard Fine-Silver bout.
Yeah, we mentioned during the break how both these wrestlers are on some hot streaks. They've gotten some ranked wins lately. This should be a good one, both in the top 21 of the coaches panel rankings. And last year, as if it couldn't be any more even, they split their matchups. Fine-Silver won 8-5 in the duel. Bullard won 12-6 at the ACC tournament.
Still no score here. Just under 2 minutes left in period number 1. And a quick neutral reset for Bullard in a fine silver. Some hand fighting, some back and forth.
Yeah, neither guy really able to create an angle quite yet.
Team lead for North Carolina State, 27-4. Now just over a minute left in the first.
And these guys are banging right now. I mean, those are some heavy-handed ties that they both are coming in with.
I would say, feel free to correct me here as you are the former wrestler yourself. Easily the most aggressive hand fighting we've seen in any bout so far today.
Oh, by far. I don't even think it's close. The aggression and, I mean, blatant, I think we can just call it anger these guys are tying up with.
Not to mention the time up on their feet.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really seen that in a bout so far today, but they've spent most of this first period trying to gain high positioning. 20 seconds remain.
That was a slick transition there for Bullard, going from that 2-on-1 rush into a low shot. Not able to finish. Fine Silver got out of it, but.
Time waning down in period number 1, and it ends in zeros. Here's a look at the number of ranked wrestlers each ACC team has. These are ranked individual wrestlers. As you take a look down through the conference, NC State 7 in the top 20, 4 of those in the top 10, but Duke a couple of top 20 wrestlers themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. That shows the depth and how impressive it is for this conference right now. And you see the number of top 10 guys. The ACC has never had 3 All-Americans in the same weight class. I think they break that streak this year. Great reversal there from Daniel Bullard.
Bullard gets the first points of the bout, 2-0. These two, of course, included in those top 20 rankings that we just alluded to. 90 seconds left in the second period, an escape point awarded to Fine Silver, and it's 2-1 in favor of Daniel Bullard. And again, you can tell just how back and forth this match is. You look up at the riding time, Ryan. 3.5 seconds is all in favor of Bullard. That means these guys are going at it. No one's really had clear control for an extended period.
Well, I think it really shows that these guys are familiar with each other. These coaches know the other guy's wrestler. They know the scouting report. And like we mentioned, these guys split last year. So a lot riding here on this bout.
Again, moving toward the outskirts of the circle. These guys have been all over the place. As now Fine Silver shoots low, flipped back over by Bullard.
Yeah, and right back in another Bullard Fine Silver scramble.
The Fine Silvers have a knack for finding that foot at the last second and preventing a takedown.
And this is where the Bullards are at their best. When they're draped over their opponent like this, it's really, really tough to be able to finish on both of them. We'll see if Fine Silver can do it. There's not a whole lot of time, though, for him to finish this takedown.
And that ends the second period, so still low scoring, but certainly entertaining. 2-1 in favor of Daniel Bullard with 2 minutes left in this individual bout.
Low scoring, but I would say we've had a good amount of action for a 2-1 match.
No doubt about it. Hard to tell what we'll see in these remaining 2 minutes.
Probably some scrambles is my guess.
The last Bullard-Fine Silver matchup came down to the final seconds as an escape by Fine Silver here ties things at 2.
Nice low shot there from Bullard, and now Feinsilver's the one draped over and tying Bullard up.
Bullard manages some feet to the face and earns the takedown.
I was just going to say, Bullard should be comfortable in that position because of his brother. I mean, that draping over is what the Bullards do. So he should know what to do in that situation. He clearly did. Finish the takedown. 4-2 lead, 4-3 now with the escape.
70 seconds remaining in the period as Bullard again goes low. Feinsilver fights him off. Matt Feinsilver, the sophomore, down by one with 60 seconds remaining.
The ref is counting danger, and he awards the takedown for Bullard.
Incredible to earn another 2 points. Bullard now ahead 6-3, and a challenge coming out from Greg Lanham. A very animated Duke bench after that call. As the clock stops at 39 seconds, they'll take a look.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this replay. That was it was almost like Feinsilver was putting in an arm bar from the UFC, the way he was kind of using that. But that Bullard knew what he was doing there and put his opponent on his back. You saw the ref swiping up to count the danger for the danger rule. And we'll see what conclusion they come to.
An unfortunate 2 points against Duke, if that is the case, because, Ryan, it doesn't seem to me like a position in which Bullard was in control at all, but he's the benefactor of some positioning there that earns him the 2 points. I mean, we'll have a second look here.
And right here, you see the referee swiping up. That's for the danger rule, and that's when he awarded the 2. And at that point, it's tough to say there's control, but when he counts out the danger rule, I think that does have an impact because Feinsilver was on his back and Bullard was putting him there and trying to hold him there.
And there was the Feinsilver grabbing at the lower body there as well that I think played a factor in the danger call that you're alluding to.
So the referees are over there looking at it now.
As you see, Feinsilver, it looked like he was trying to grab some of Bullard's singlet at one point.
Well, he's got the arm lock there, and you see Bullard kind of broke out of that arm lock and then puts Feinsilver on his back. And you see right there, I mean, it's tough to call it at the end control, but the way that the danger rule works, and you saw the ref swiping up, and the call is confirmed, that's the way the rule is written. I think you have to call that a takedown. He had his opponent on his back. The referee was swiping up, and we get the call confirmed.
So a good look at it there by our camera operators. The 2 points remain, and a quick escape for Feinsilver makes it 6-4.
Feinsilver going for a cradle. He has it locked up.
That ties it at 6, under 30 seconds left in the third period. Escape for Bullard, 7-6, 20 seconds to go.
And Feinsilver's got to go for it. Bullard knows what he needs to do here. He knows the situation. And that's going to be 2 right there.
2 for Feinsilver, and time expires. 8-7 the victory in favor of the Duke sophomore. Wow.
Matt Feinsilver knew what he had to do there, kept going for it, gets the takedown with 2 seconds left, and pulls out a 1-point win. Here's the last takedown, the decider. You see Bullard's trying to scramble. Feinsilver knows what he needs to do. Keep moving, and he just gets him right here when he hooks that leg in, and he gets the 2.
Well, that was perhaps our two best bouts of the day, the Wonder Twin competitions, as we now move to the 184s. And the team count goes to 27 total for NC State and then 7 for Duke, following the second individual bout won by the Blue Devils. And so this one's certainly an interesting lineup adjustment for North Carolina State, Ryan, in that, as you might be able to tell on screen, a bit of a size disadvantage for the Wolfpack competitor here.
Yeah, Alex Faison of NC State. He's a true freshman out of North Carolina, I believe. Not even in the probable lineup right now, but he is normally a 157-pounder. He weighed in at 165. No, excuse me, he weighed in at 174 today, and he's wrestling up at 184.
Facing Caden Russell, the sophomore of Duke, who's currently ahead 2-0. And from a perspective of a wrestling team's culture, what would be the reasoning behind a decision to wrestle Faison up 2 classes like this?
It could be a number of things. Rod Davis was the guy that was listed as the probable for NC State here. He could be under the weather. The coaches just might not have liked what they've seen out of him lately. There's any number of reasons, and maybe they liked what they've seen out of Faison lately.
It's also Military Appreciation Night here at Reynolds Coliseum. Faison, a member of NC State's ROTC. So perhaps something to do with it as well. If so, a cool nod of the cap by Coach Papalizio and staff.
Yeah, and the way this match has gone, the outcome of this match isn't really going to affect the team score in terms of wins or losses for the team. So a guy that probably has done a lot to deserve this chance, and he gets it.
Faison down 1, 2-1 is the score in favor of Russell here at the 184s.
During one of our TV breaks, Faison was recognized on the mat, and I was trying to remove my headset and hear what he was being recognized for, and now it all makes sense. Military night, a guy in the ROTC, and he gets his, I believe, his first dual start. For sure, it's his first dual start of the ACC season.
2-point takedown there for Russell makes it 4-1 advantage for the Blue Devil with under 20 seconds remaining in the first. Again, 27-7, the team count for North Carolina State. We're through 8. This is the 9th, just one bout following with the 197s as Russell, the aggressor in the first period, up to 1 minute, 25 seconds in riding time as the first period concludes. And he leads it 4-1. Faison showing a lot of fight, though. As we mentioned, he's outsized in this by a great deal.
Yeah, and he's going up against a guy in Caden Russell. Just got hit for a caution, just his first of the match. But Caden Russell's a guy that's an experienced 184-pounder as a sophomore. He went 7-21 last year, but that's a lot of experience he got. And he's been wrestling pretty well this year. At the Southern Scuffle, one of the tougher midseason tournaments there is, Caden Russell was one match away from placing.
And at this point in the season has doubled his individual bout win total
right
from a season ago. Now he's at 14-8 this year. So a lot of progress made for Caden Russell for sure. Faison escapes near the outside of the circle.
I'm sure this was Faison's mindset. I've been there as a kind of a utility guy on a wrestling team. If a coach says, hey, we're going to wrestle you up, you just say, yeah, I'll do it. I want the match. And I'm sure that's Faison's mentality as he goes out here right now.
So you yourself have been in his shoes in this very instance at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I had several instances where I had to weigh in at 33 and I was wrestling at 41. I knew I was going to wrestle at 41, but the coach still wanted me to weigh in at 33, and in that situation, you don't have a lot of say in what you do. You just say yes, sir, and you do it.
And maybe not just you anecdotally, but typically, how successful is a wrestler when going up a division?
It's tough. There's no doubt it's tough, but that makes the win even sweeter if you can get it.
Russell now at 2.5 minutes of riding time, just 30 seconds left in period number 2.
Faison hit with his second stalling. That's going to be a point for Caden Russell.
So now 7-2, under 20 seconds remaining in the second.
And he's got the cradle locked up. The Duke bench trying to tell Caden Russell he needed to put the knee in the side
and
there.
He gets the 4. That's rewarded. 11-2 as we close the second period. Caden Russell, great execution to take a demanding lead into the third period.
Yeah, again, let's talk about the situation that Alex Faison finds himself in. A guy that's listed on the roster as a 157-pounder, weighed in at 174 today. I mean, his actual weight was just over 164, and he's out here today wrestling an experienced 184-pounder. That's a tough situation to find yourself in.
Again, given the circumstances, a cool honor for NC State to give him the start in this dual match. And he's certainly putting up a fight as Russell gets another 2 on the takedown. 14-2 now the count with 1:25 remaining in our 9th of 10 bouts this evening.
Yeah, and Caden Russell's a guy that, as you mentioned, has doubled his win total from last year already, and he has put up a lot of bonus point victories for Duke. He's had 6 major decisions, 2 technical falls, 3 pins, and he's on his way to adding another bonus point victory here.
Russell again shooting low and getting Faison on the mat, 17-3, right at 60 seconds remaining in the third period. Another 2 there, and that'll do it. Caden Russell with the victory makes it 27-12, the team count in favor of North Carolina State. Faison, the smaller competitor here, but he certainly put up a fight.
Yeah, and you see the cradle right here. Good job by Faison of getting out of that, not getting pinned by the cradle against a much bigger opponent, wrestling up a couple weight classes. But impressive performance from Caden Russell.
Now we move to our 10th and final bout of the evening. A couple of redshirt seniors at the 197 division. Alex Shank of Duke wrestling Malik McDonald of North Carolina State. McDonald coming off of a pin in NC State's last match against Drexel.
Yeah, and a pin that iced the match as well. Secured the team victory for the Wolfpack. They were down 3 starters in that match.
They've been embattled with injuries so far through the season, but have done a great job not letting it affect their performance. We mentioned earlier their number 8 ranking in the country. But what is certain to be a tough ACC slate ahead. The other 5 in the conference, including the Wolfpack, all ranked teams.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier from here for the Wolfpack, but I don't think head coach Pat Popolizio would rather have it any other way heading into the postseason. And I think this is a good matchup we got here. On paper, Alex Shank is 3-3, but he is much better than that record indicates. Last year he put up 20 wins, and he even wrestled in some open tournaments unattached this year that don't go into that 3-3 record, but he does have that experience as well this season. two guys that are fifth-year seniors, two guys that also serve as team captains. And you see Malik McDonald getting in on a double and finishing.
The first points of the bout, 2-0 in favor of McDonald. And we'll reset as things get pushed outside of the circle. Malik McDonald, an interesting guy, kind of a quiet leader for this Wolfpack wrestling team.
And a guy that was wrestling at heavyweight last year.
You're right, they moved him up to heavyweight some last year. He had his choice of whether or not he wanted to wrestle at 184 or 197 going into this, his redshirt senior year. Chose the higher weight class. I think he would tell you for a couple of reasons, as he has a massive takedown there for another 2 points, 4-2 in favor of McDonald with under a minute to go in the period. But Ryan, as I was saying, maybe a couple of reasons go into that decision. A, he thinks 197 is where he was going to have the best chance to compete. B, he wrestled at heavyweight last season and probably had adjusted to that larger style of wrestling. Again, he's playing the aggressor here.
Yeah, and you can see out there, he's just a strong, big 197-pounder. You see his strength out there throwing Alex Schenk around. And, I mean, Malik McDonald won 20 matches at heavyweight last year. He was a part-time starter, and Michael Boykin eventually emerged as the starter for the Wolfpack and went to the NCAA championships. But if Malik McDonald would have been the starter all year, I think he would have been in the NCAA championships, even at heavyweight. Like you mentioned, 197, he felt like he had a better chance to win, and I think he made the right move. You see just how powerful he is at this weight class. And he would have been giving up a lot of weight at heavyweight.
No doubt about it. And one thing he's mentioned that he took away from his time wrestling at the heavyweight division last season is he got really, really good with hand fighting, because with those bigger guys, of course, there's a lot more force, a lot more momentum. And they're throwing those paws out there. Talked about the remaining schedule in the ACC for North Carolina State. Rounding out ACC competition, from here on out, it's ranked opponents at Virginia against Pitt, here at Reynolds Coliseum, and then 2 more road bouts against North Carolina and Virginia Tech to finish off the season, which, of course, the ACC dual regular season championship came down to the Hokies here at Reynolds Coliseum a season ago.
Yeah, and NC State's got that title to defend now. Looking to go back-to-back for the first time since 2001 to 2002. And we had a little interesting exchange in that period break. The NC State coaching staff was trying to tell Malik McDonald something, and he just never looked that way. So I'm not sure what they were trying to tell him, but he just never looked that way, and they were a little frustrated by that.
Another escape for Schenk ties things up at 4. You see practically the entire coaching staff at the edge of the mat. Even a minute and a half into this period, still trying to communicate whatever they were to Malik McDonald. Under a minute to go in the second, still tied at 4.
And Malik McDonald does have both takedowns of this match so far. He's given up 3 escapes and a penalty point, so that's why we're tied up at 4. But he was able to ride long enough after those 2 takedowns that he's got 117 of riding time right now.
These two duking it out high, staying on their feet. We haven't seen that a ton this evening.
Yeah, these guys are doing a lot of upper body pummeling. This is where what you talked about a little bit, partner, comes in, where McDonald got used to that heavyweight hand fight, I think. He's probably very, very comfortable in these upper body ties.
As the second period comes to a close, it remains 4-4 between Schenk and McDonald. And we look at things upcoming for the Duke Blue Devils at Old Dominion in just a couple of days. And then it's a tough road ahead for them as well. 3 ranked opponents in ACC action, and then Appalachian State on February 7th. The Mountaineers, traditionally a very good program.
Yeah, we saw them come to NC State earlier this year and lost 29-9. You see Malik McDonald starting the third period off right, getting an escape and taking a 5-4 lead. And he also keeps the riding time point with 1:11 right now. He escaped quick enough to keep it above a minute.
Just 90 seconds left in our 10th and final bout of the evening. McDonald fights off the low shot by Shank.
Great sprawl there from McDonald. I thought that was Shank's best shot of the match. McDonald sprawled out of it, and now Shank is hooked around his other leg.
And a reset here with 1 minute, 10 seconds left. And Malik McDonald ahead 5-4, looking to close things out for the Wolfpack. Shank again trying low. But McDonald clearly wants to keep this bout high.
Yeah, McDonald's tough to move. Shank looked like he was going to try for an inside trip and thought better of it. That's probably a smart move on his part to not commit to that. He might have gotten pancaked.
25 seconds left in the bout. McDonald with another 2-point takedown. He's ahead 3, 7-4.
That was an impressive snatch single there from McDonald. He was moving around. The leg was there. He took it and got the finish. That should ice this one.
5 seconds to go. McDonald has the riding time as well. 1 point for Shank on the escape. And the clock hits 0, so add 1 to McDonald's count. It's 8-5, the individual score. Malik McDonald gets the win. The redshirt senior for the Wolfpack in our 10th and final bout of the evening. And the team totals in favor of North Carolina State. 30-12 is the final. Some tough bouts, some back and forth bouts, some rather one-sided bouts as well, Ryan, to square this thing out. North Carolina State, 90% dual winning percentage over the last 4 seasons, as you see it there. And they keep that home ACC dual match winning streak here at Reynolds Coliseum.
And we got to see a little bit of everything tonight, but good, solid victory for the Wolfpack to start off ACC action.
So for Ryan Tice, Matt Curry producing, Lauren Davis directing, and everybody else involved, I'm Darren Vaught saying so long from Reynolds Coliseum, where the Wolfpack takes down the Duke Blue Devils in their first ACC dual match. To watch the entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.